WWE Smackdown is dying right now, but how can WWE save it? Number 10. Listening to the audience. Now, as things stand, the February 21st, 2025 edition of Smackdown has a 2.85 rating on Cage Match. But for a show and a company that is supposedly on fire, this is truly a horrific rating, and it shows that fans have had enough of a lackluster product. Now, it's often been claimed that Triple H has a burner social media account and likes to view what fans are saying in relation to the modern WWE product. In fact, this was all but confirmed when Triple H made numerous booking decisions in 2024 that were directly linked to fan complaints on social media, specifically the X platform. Now, the first solution, and it's a simple one, WWE just needs to read the room and address the fact that the SmackDown product is struggling. Once they acknowledge this, they can move forward and realize that they aren't giving the fans the product they deserve. Number 9. Ditch the 3-hour format. But Triple H and WWE have hit a sweet spot when it comes to the runtime of Raw on Netflix. The show usually runs for 2.5 hours, and this allows matches to get enough time and it allows stories to breathe. Unfortunately, the extra hour for SmackDown has had little to no benefit to the product. In theory, adding an additional hour should mean that new talent get a chance to shine, and WWE talent are allowed to have classic television matches on a weekly basis, but this isn't what's happened. The show is exhausting to sit through, and it's almost as if WWE has no idea how to present a 3-hour show, despite them producing a 3-hour Raw for almost 13 years. Or when it was first announced by Triple H that SmackDown would be a 3-hour presentation, he sounded less than enthusiastic. This was obviously an executive call that went way above the game's head, and it's evidently a decision that the game probably isn't even fond of himself. But Triple H has confirmed that SmackDown will revert to 2 hours, but it's not been confirmed when this will be. The issue here is that if WWE continues to give fans a lousy 3-hour product, a lot of the fans would have alienated the blue brand by the time the show reverts to its original format. Number 8. Introduce new talent. And when it was first announced that SmackDown would be a 3-hour product moving forward, it was reported that the additional talent from both Raw and NXT would be added to the show. Whilst this has happened, well, somewhat with the additions of Drew McIntyre and R-Truth, the roster is still insanely thin, and the show is soon going to run out of new, exciting matches to book. WWE should have seen this coming in advance, as a 3-hour show with a thin roster was always going to be extremely hard to book, and there were even calls for WWE to have a draft of sorts instead of the lazy introduction of a relaxed brand split. There are so many talents that aren't being used across all 3 main brands, and this is the perfect opportunity to give them a chance. Names such as Karrion Kross, The Wyatt Six, and even Otis barely do anything on television, and WWE have nothing to lose by giving them the spotlight. Number 7. Reignite the mid-card. Now, there were a lot of questions directed towards WWE Creative when they decided to give Shinsuke Nakamura the US title. Nakamura's work has regressed quite dramatically in recent years, and it made a lack of sense to abandon the LA Knight push in favor of Nakamura. As fans have expected, the reign has been a total bust. Nakamura has been US champion for over 80 days, and he's defended it one time, and that match ended in a DQ. Nakamura spends most of his time lingering around backstage, and it'd be interesting to know why WWE made the call to crown him in the first place. His reign has been completely lifeless, and fans are labeling it as one of the worst mid-card title reigns of all time, and unfortunately this isn't hyperbole. The SmackDown mid-card has so many names that can wrestle and are more importantly insanely over with the audience. The aforementioned LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, Carmelo Hayes, and Jacob Fatu could all create a thriving mid-card scene that could truly make SmackDown a show that respects its mid-card title. Number 6. Let Cody wrestle. One of the complaints that's directed towards WWE that isn't exclusive to SmackDown is the fact that Triple H has reservations relating to letting his champions wrestle. The world champions on both brands wrestling in any capacity is rare, and this is an odd way to book them. Whilst it's appreciated that the matches should feel like a big deal, it was common in virtually every era of the past 3 decades that the world champion would actually wrestle on TV on a regular basis. Well, that isn't if you're Roman Reigns, right? When it comes to the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, in 2025 he's wrestled twice on the blue brand, and both were tag team matches which served to further other issues on the show. Rhodes wrestling could elevate other talent, and Rhodes delivering an open challenge of sorts would be a smart and exciting way to make new stars and even introduce unfamiliar talent from NXT. Now, interestingly, Triple H must have heard this complaint when it came to the world champion Gunther, as on the final Raw before Elimination Chamber, Gunther would wrestle Akira Tozawa, and to say that the squash match was well received would be an understatement. This is an extremely simple fix and one that will greatly influence the reputation of the show itself. Number 5. Feature the big stars. Fans on social media have taken issue with the lack of big stars on the Blue brand. Whilst the show does feature Cody Rhodes, who is the face of WWE, his appearances on Raw are presented considerably greater, and it's almost as if WWE are ticking a box by having their WWE champion on the show. Legendary contracted names such as Roman Reigns and Randy Orton need to be on the Blue brand. WWE have managed to get complacent by years of solid booking, and they are trusting untested main eventers to draw in crowds. This could backfire in a major way. It's not been reported by any credible sources why names such as Reigns or Orton aren't on the shows at all, and even though both are off television due to kayfabe injuries, it's truly time to bring them back into the mix and make them prominent fixtures on the show. Whilst this would no doubt influence fans to tune into the show itself, the presentation and writing still has to be strong and compelling. The now infamous February 21st, 2025 edition of Smackdown featured the return of the final boss, The Rock, but even that received some criticism from fans. This criticism came from the fact that WWE are just seemingly making storylines up on the fly, and being 8 weeks away from Wrestlemania, this is something that should be avoided at all costs. Number 4, retire the Bloodline story, well, at least for now. Now, there's no denying that the Bloodline storyline was a major reason as to why WWE hit a boom period a number of years ago. The segments and matches involved were excellent, and WWE firmly believe that there are a number of years left when it comes to the storyline. Unfortunately, since WrestleMania 40, the storyline has sort of fallen apart. The Bloodline vs Cody Rhodes storyline wasn't well received, and the Roman Reigns vs Solo Sikoa story came and went with a whimper. And they're now focusing on Sikoa vs Jacob Fatu story, which is fine, but it pales in comparison to the storylines that have come before the Bloodline saga. WWE are relying on prior equity and fan investment in the storyline to get the new rivalry over. Whilst Fatu is on course to be a breakout star in WWE, some fans are questioning if a feud with Sikoa is the best way to achieve this. Maybe now it's time to relax the storyline for a period, as WWE could always revisit it in time, but for now, the storyline is undeniably stale. Number 3, take a chance. In early February 2025, it was reported online that Road Dogg had taken over as the lead writer for SmackDown. This raised instant alarm bells for fans, as Road Dogg was a head writer for SmackDown during a time when the product was, well, at an all-time low. Road Dogg was notoriously involved in the 2017 to 2018 writing of SmackDown, a time in which fans left in droves. But the problem extended beyond Road Dogg's writing, as he was prone to argue with fans on social media relating to the quality of the product, and he had an extremely odd justification for booking angles the way he did. But why is Road Dogg currently in this position? Well, surely WWE could have taken a chance on a new team of writers to breathe life into a stale product. A strong portion of fans have suggested that they use Raw and Netflix's writing team, but arguably both shows should feel different and unique, and it would be unwise to overwork the Raw team. With the SmackDown product existing in its current loathed form, they have nothing to lose by giving the book to someone new. It'd be interesting to see if there's any backlash directed towards Road Dogg when it comes to the negative reaction to the product. Number 2, spotlight the women's division. Now, it goes without saying that SmackDown has a stacked women's roster. This is something that WWE should utilize when it comes to the 3-hour product. SmackDown has shined over the past 12 months by having incredible TV main events with women, as names such as Nia Jax, Naomi and Michin have all mastered how to deliver strong TV matches. WWE going all in on the women's division on the Blue brand would be a smart move, and it would also make the show feel unique compared to Raw. NXT has had recent success by making their women's division the primary focus on the show, and there's no reason why SmackDown can't do the same. The top storyline in the division heading into WrestleMania is Tiffany Stratton vs Charlotte Flair, and it should be encouraged to see both women wrestle featured matches on the road to their collision course. WWE also has the women's US title on the show, and this gives the women something to fight for outside of the main title. The US title acts as a great tool to get women on the show, and WWE should without a doubt regularly feature secondary storylines that allow women outside of the upper echelon of the division to be showcased. And number 1, where the hell are the storylines? One of the fundamental issues with SmackDown right now is a lack of storylines on the show. Outside of some minor issues between top names, there's not a single strong, compelling story that fans are hooked on. Once again, WWE is relying on the show being a hot-ticketed event to draw people in. This simply isn't enough. The lack of storylines would be bad if it was for any other time of the year, but this is WrestleMania season, where storylines should be intense and raw, no pun intended. The WWE had so many great storytellers on the show, yet they're not doing anything with them to tell a meaningful storyline, and this is just baffling. They had a great opportunity coming out of the Royal Rumble to tell a compelling storyline with Drew McIntyre. It was reported that McIntyre was seething when his Rumble elimination went wrong, and with the WWE blurring the lines of kayfabe more than ever, it would have been welcome to see WWE explore this side of McIntyre. Instead, it was wasted with a throwaway line that half the audience didn't even understand. McIntyre is one of the most consistent storytellers in the company, and this should have made for a fascinating angle heading into the biggest show of the year. Now, hopefully WWE hears the complaints when it comes to the lack of storytelling on the show, and they put some effort into this department with immediate effect.